Abu Dhabi is a desert city, and it's running out of water. Severe shortages are expected as soon as 2012. Natural water supply is becoming increasingly scarce in Abu Dhabi. In addition, the people who live here are amongst the largest consumers of water in the world. So now you see the problem.
The coastal areas of Abu Dhabi receive not more than 80 millimeter of annual rainfall. This is certainly not enough water to provide for the residents of the city.
Like any arid region, Abu Dhabi has no surface water, no river, no fresh lakes.
Natural resources in terms of water do not exist here in the UAE. So we need to find ways in order to acquire that.
Almost every drop of drinking water in the emirate comes from desalination, the removal of salt from seawater. The Tawila B Power and Water Station is the biggest in the region.
This is the seawater intake where we take in the water for use in the distillers. For every 3 cubic metres of water we take in, we produce 1 cubic metre of drinking water.
We can produce 160 million imperial gallons per day of water. I would say that's approximately 25% of the production requirements in Abu Dhabi Emirate itself. Without the number of desalination plants we have at the moment, with the growing population, it would be particularly difficult to meet the water requirements, potable water requirements of the population.
This is one of our potable water tanks where the water we make in the distillers ends up. We have 12 of these tanks, and the 12 tanks is 1 day's production. From here it's pumped to the Emirate of Abu Dhabi.
Desalination is horribly expensive on the environment and energy inefficient. And today's goal is to provide renewable, sustainable sources of energy. So now experiments are focusing on the one source of which there is abundant supplies. Well, we're in the Gulf, so yes, it's the sun. This is a small experimental desalination station run by the Environment Agency. It's using solar energy instead of fossil fuels to power the process.
This is the groundwater wells where we are extracting the groundwater. It is about 100 meters deep. This is the storage tanks. The water is produced from the reverse osmosis system here inside this container. This is the fresh water here.
And the excess saline solution is left to evaporate instead of being pumped back into the sea. Over at the commercial desalination plant, they are supportive of the scheme, but also sceptical.
I don't see there would be a feature for solar desalination in terms of significant production of water capacities, but on a smaller scale, I think it would be very interesting, yes.
No matter how clean the energy which powers the process, there are risks associated with desalination. When relying on the salty sea for drinking water, pollution is a constant threat.
We have an oil protection device at the intake to the station. It's called a bubble barrier. And basically it's a wall of bubbles that rises from the floor to prevent any oil spill that may occur coming into the intake.
As it stands, Abu Dhabi has currently just 48 hours of emergency water supply. Out in the desert, work has started on an ambitious project to build an artificial underground aquifer to increase that.
What we are thinking now is to store water underground to use it later on for case of emergency. As a scale, this is the first big pilot project in the desert and in arid region to inject 7 million gallons a day and to recover 40 million gallons a day in case of emergency.
Storing spare desalinated water is only part of the solution. There are other issues that have to be addressed. This is a city that needs to reduce its consumption. The average family in Abu Dhabi uses 1 million litres of water per year. That means it's the people who need to rethink and change the way they use water. Every day, Abu Dhabi residents use more than 3 times the amount of water recommended by the United Nations. So the authorities have come up with these little water-saving devices, which reduce the flow of water from your tap by a third. 30,000 of these has been fitted so far across the Emirate, in homes, schools, mosques and hotels.
We're really looking at engaging with the public at large, really looking at increasing people's awareness that water does not come cheap here.
I think there's an increasing awareness now that we need to save water resources, and I think anything that supports the conservation of water in the home without making too much of an impact on our lives can only be a good thing.
There is a target to have 3 million people living in the Emirate by 2030, which is more than double its current population. So the demand for water shows no sign of slowing.
Water is certainly a priority for Abu Dhabi government, and we're addressing it in various stages. In a world and in a planet that is getting more resource constrained.
For Abu Dhabi, this emirate in the desert, growth and ambition will always be tied to the supply of water. Richard Quest, CNN, Abu Dhabi.